This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million. He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 units sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
Okay, Top Tribe, this week's winner of the $100 is Rich Jones. Okay, Rich Jones, he is stuck in corporate. He wants to break free. He's binging on the show. For your chance to win $100 every Monday morning, simply subscribe to the podcast right now on iTunes and then text the word Nathan to 33444 to prove that you did it. Top Tribe, you know I don't have a lot of time to waste. That's why I use FreshBooks to send out invoices and make sure I'm collecting my money. To get your free month, go to nathanlatka.com/FreshBooks and enter the top in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Nathan Latka here. This is episode 611, and coming up tomorrow morning, you're going to hear from Sauce Labs CEO and father of two. He's 62 years old. Charles Ramsey joins us. They've raised $130 million at an unbelievable valuation, specifically 80 pre and added on 70 on top of that to get $130 million post money. He breaks down the valuation tomorrow. They're helping over 3,500 customers execute concurrent and parallel high fidelity testing. Be sure to tune in to catch that episode. All right, guys. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nathan Latka, and with me today is Dr. Milton Chen. He is the co-founder and CEO of VSee. That's VSee. Milton did his PhD at Stanford on the design of video collaboration. Additionally, he was the co-founder of XMPP Video Standard, which is now used, I believe, by Google Talk and Facebook Chat. We'll talk about that. He's also deployed VSee for Hillary Clinton, Angelina Jolie, the rock band Linkin Park, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. All right, Milton, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Very good. Well, hey, I appreciate you and thank you for coming on. So tell us first, what does VSee do and what's the revenue model? How do you generate money?
Yeah, we're basically a SaaS company. So what we do is we basically help hospitals basically provide telemedicine to their patients. What we typically do is we offer mobile app, call center workflow, so that whether you're an individual doctor or urgent care center or entire healthcare network, you can actually now offer telemedicine to your patients.
Okay, and what is you mentioned the SaaS platform. So what is the average kind of customer paying you per month? And can you give us an example of one of those customers?
Yeah, so I would say we're pretty excited, like in terms of the second and third largest healthcare system in the U.S., Trinity and Ascension Healthcare, specifically like C10. So we're the company that built their telemedicine system. And typically our customers, when they buy software, the cost ranges of between about $49 to $499 per medical provider per month, again, based on the features and options.
Okay, so this is just, let's go into specifics with a company like Trinity. So describe a little more clearly in layman's terms what you're providing to them for between $49 and $500 per month.
Sure, in there. So for them, so this is Trinity is a very large healthcare system in the U.S. and many hospitals. So in that case, is they want to able to for their patients to able to, for example, go into their patient portal and see their doctor by telemedicine. Mm-hmm. So that's a piece we built for them. Things like a triage waiting rooms. You can do some documentations. Again, you can get a chat and video, send files. Again, it's almost like just like what we're doing right now. But imagine now I'm your doctor, you're my patient. Let's go through just like how to create this experience. But the key thing, you have to be secure, HIPAA compliant, so you can actually meet the medical regulations.
Milton, I have zero interest in trying to work through government regulations. You, my friend, have some patience. I don't know how you do it, but you have some patience.
I think it's, to be honest, I'm a fan of Skype. I love these consumer like from WhatsApp, all these things. But I think when it comes to healthcare, right, you want to make sure you're a little bit careful, making sure, right, because at the end of the day, people are very careful about their disease and things. They want this to be confidential. And so we'll do a lot of work making sure that VSee meet all the requirements, that your conversation protected.
And I want to make sure I understand your pricing model. So you said the average customer is paying you between $50 and $500 per month. But is that per month per patient, or is it just Trinity
overall is $50?
No, per medical staff. So like per doctor or per nurse or per like medical assistant in there.
Okay. And we'll come back to that in a second. So it's between 50 and 500. Tell us more of the story though. When did you launch this company?
Yeah, so the company was incorporated in 2008 in there. To be honest, I did my PhD at Stanford, but I was not one of those people who want to build a startup. In fact, my grandparents on my dad's
Everybody
side,
at Stanford wants to do a startup.
no, I was a little bit different. So my grandparents on my dad's side, they were professors at University of Illinois a long, long, long time ago. So I was probably biggest mega nerd. I actually loved research. I went to graduate school because I thought I would be a professor. And then I just to be honest, I got a little bit burned out during my PhD, through the whole faculty search. I decided to goof out a little bit of time. I decided, I'll just try this thing company, even though I have zero experience. And to fast forward today, I love it in there. So I think everything about startup is just probably the best rewarding job
So
ever.
when did you launch it? When did you start the company?
The company was starting in 2008. When we started, we actually had our gratitude. We actually received our initial investment with InQtel, the investment arm by the U.S. government. So we're pretty grateful that they took investment.
How much was that for?
But that one, unfortunately, we're not allowed to release that. But it's a typical, Silicon Valley style. It's a couple of million.
Was it dilutive though, or was it a grant?
It was a normal capital, a normal equity investment.
Okay, so it wasn't a convertible note. It wasn't a grant. It was an equity investment. They actually valued the business.
That's correct. In there,
okay.
It was a normal.
And how did you just quickly, because a lot of people will start with a convertible note typically to avoid the valuation conversation. How did you think about valuation that early on?
I wish I could tell this. I just didn't know what I was doing. I was probably the most clueless entrepreneur you ever met. Literally, I went there.
How old were you when you started it?
I was actually I guess early 30s. I guess after graduate school. I had zero business experience. I was a mega nerd. Imagine mega nerd PhD. That was me. So it was something I talked to our lawyer, talked to a couple of people. It was sort of okay. And I was to be honest, I was just so grateful that people was wanting to invest at all. Then I would say this is wonderful.
So let's now fast forward today. So you launched in 2008, you said. Now fast forward today, how many let's start at the top level. How many kind of hospitals are you working with total?
We have, in general, overall, we have a little more than 1,000 paid customers. And again, we range from a bunch of the biggest hospitals, and also even a lot of these were even concierge medical doctors, urgent care, again, a bunch of just spectrum of different aspects of medical use.
Mm-hmm. And when you say 1,000 paying customers, are those the actual healthcare providers or the nurses inside of the healthcare providers?
No, these are actual accounts in there. So for example, if you talk about, let's say, Ascension Healthcare, that would be a single customer. Even though within the system, there might be a whole bunch of hospital, whole bunch of doctor, whole bunch of nurses.
Okay, so you have 1,000 Ascensions and
paying accounts.
Got it. How many nurses, if you add up all the nurses using you across those companies, do you have?
So this is where the bad news in there. So whole telemedicine space is in the that maybe inflection point in there. So we have got ourselves in the door into a lot of places, but pretty much across the board, our customers in that maybe piloting or late stage piloting space in there. So the potential is pretty large, but in terms of individual, the actual number user is not as high as we had hoped in there. In fact, we think this year or next year could be that inflection point.
So what are you at right now in terms of kind of average nurses per, paid healthcare provider? I mean, is it hundreds or dozens or a couple, one or two?
It's probably between the dozens and hundreds in there. Again, so some are bigger accounts that were going to, thousands in there. Some are smaller ones in a couple of dozen type of things.
Okay, very cool. So, and this is always an embarrassing question, but take us back to that year number 1, 2008. Do you remember what first year revenue was?
I do. Unfortunately, one of the reasons later we also raised investment from Salesforce.com, from both InQtel and Salesforce. They actually prefer us maybe not to release some of the. Oh, come on,
Milton! That was back that was 8 years ago. What was your first year revenue? It's usually an embarrassing number.
First, I don't remember at the top of my head, but if I were to, because I think it's I'm tempted to say it's maybe like between $10,000 or $50,000, something around there, but something very embarrassing.
Hey, you have to start somewhere. That's why I ask the question, right? Everyone's watching. They're going, yes, guys, you can hit the little heart button or whatever if you agree. You have to start somewhere, right? So Milton, and then fast forward us. You raised a bunch of capital. How much capital have you raised total?
Yeah, we actually, again, so I feel apologizing there because the investor we signed up, so they prefer us not to release how much money.
Well, I can go on Crunchbase and read the number. Is that accurate? Is that number accurate or no?
That one is actually not accurate because that one is just like because of some of the confidential between from the U.S. government, also how Salesforce normally does investment.
Okay.
So the number is actually not public.
Okay, got it. What's the team size to date?
We have 52 full-time employees.
Okay, and where are you guys based?
We're based in the Sunnyvale, California.
Sunnyvale, very good. So you have expensive salaries, right?
We do. We have about roughly a third of our staff is based in the San Francisco Bay Area around there. But then we actually have people pretty much all over the place. We have people from LA, San Diego, Nevada. We also have people in like Canada, in Singapore. So for us, is payroll is definitely by far our biggest expenses in there. But at the same time, we also have just always different place.
Well, you guys are obviously your post revenue at this point, right? You have 1,000. Those 1,000 you gave me, those are paying customers, not users, correct. Right?
Yeah, that's correct. They're actually people paying us every month.
Isn't this a beautiful thing? Real people paying you. It's a beautiful thing.
So, it's really wonderful. I think the beauty of SaaS business is when you build literally it's just you just make sure your customer really happy with you, give them great service, they just repeat, pay your month after month. That's a really wonderful.
It is. Yeah, and I mean, you obviously won't confirm or deny these, but I can do some back of the napkin math. If you got about 1,000 paid, Trinities or Ascensions on you, and let's say you've got on average 10 nurses per account at a minimum of $50 a pop, right? You can do $50 times 10,000 and really get to, guess some monthly recurring revenue numbers. Now, depending on your team size and expenses, are you still burning capital every month to drive growth, or are you cash flow positive?
We're basically in that term, I guess maybe it's for a cash flow neutral-ish type of thing. We do have a small positive, but what we do is we sort of like just add people. So we tend to be about adding about 1 to 2 person per month.
Wow.
Right. So our goal is, again, we're also investing a lot in our infrastructure. So we are hosting costs is pretty heavy. We do a lot of security scan. Again, our infrastructure is like create a great infrastructure, is very stable, very secure, so that all these people that could be on our platform, then we can serve them.
And they feel good and they feel safe in it. They feel secure, right?
Yeah, I think for us is we just believe in just building a great product. For example, one of our customer most proud of is astronauts. In fact, all video communication from the International Space Station are done exclusively using our software.
Yeah, so there's a heavy video component here, right? I mean, that's what you're known for. This is what really you invented. How is your technology built in? You mentioned Facebook Chat and Facebook Messenger.
So the way how it came about is at the end of my PhD, I got invited by Peter Andre to work on the XMPP video standard with him. By the way, just I was not involved in the XMPP chat components. So when they're looking at adding the video components, I did a bunch of research. So he asked me to work with him on the standard. So that's how I got my name on the standard document in there. So we're pretty excited. So since the day I was working on the XMPP video standard, now XMPP become probably the biggest, larger protocol, from the Google, the Facebook, just all sort of people. It's just very lightweight standard to use. Also for us, I would say for our companies.
Now you get royalties, right?
No, we just got.
Come on, Milton. You're supposed to negotiate royalties on that stuff.
No, this is for standard work. Is you get a name on the piece of paper. Is the glory of the paper.
Listen, if I had to have fame or wealth, I would pick wealth every time.
Okay, well, I remember I was a very naive, nerdy graduate student.
That's funny. Well, good. So you've taken a lot of this video kind of technology. We're using Skype right now, and you've built this into, the platform that you're now. Astronauts are streaming video back to their command centers. Healthcare patients are talking with nurses. What other industries are you in?
Yeah, for us, is we actually started as a general video conference market, but we actually pivoted to be purely on telehealth. One of the reasons is in telehealth, if you only have video, it's actually not sufficient in there. You actually need a bunch of these other capabilities. For example, how do you connect the medical device? How do you easily take your blood pressure? How do you add it to a remote ultrasound? How do I have a workflow, like a call center workflow, so you could be effective in there, so productive? So turn out that these days, about probably videos, maybe about 20% what we do. The 80% what we do is about aiming to make telemedicine just an everyday experience. How do you make it super fast for the physician, doctor, nurse to be very productive?
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And let's just quickly, I'm interested in some of the unit economics. So when you're acquiring customers, how are you typically acquiring them? What channels? Do you have an inside sales team?
Yeah, we are a company structure. We have 10 people on our business team. We do sort of sales and marketing. So we basically have three sources by funnel. The first one is SEO in there. So we have a pretty strong team. If you search most of these telemedicine terms, we're on the first page on Google, like whether it's Skype telemedicine or telemedicine platform and those things in there. That's our first primary. Then the second stream is we do using outbound, basically using LinkedIn outbound to target specifically key demographics. And the third thing is we just have a set of partners, resellers in there, then they actually generate sales lead. We'll work with them.
Got it. So you've got kind of those both channels. Now, are you doing any paid marketing acquisition or no?
No, in there we haven't just done a bunch of experiments. By the way, so my because of my maybe nerdy backgrounds, I think a startup is really about is like how do you do 1,000 experiments before you die. What I mean by this is like a startup, you have finite runway, whether time, energy, whatever. So the way we think about it is just how do you do these experiments rapidly? So we have done in the past, we have done these or paid, all sort of things, from buying customer lists to all these things. We find is the most effective way is really just organic plus outbound through LinkedIn plus there's have a set of partners, especially in the healthcare. Like that is one of the strongest way. You have partner who you plug in the ecosystem, then they become your reseller or partner. You go after deals together. That's really, really effective.
So you're not. How much have you spent total on paid marketing, and you're not doing any of that anymore?
At this moment, no. I would say in the past, I'm tempted to say we probably have done on the order maybe $10,000 to $50,000 of various experiments, from like Facebook ad to LinkedIn ad to like different AdWords and also different things.
Got it. Okay, good. That's helpful. Have any of your customers that started paying you, have any of them stopped? What's your gross customer monthly churn?
So the good news is pretty good. We have a close to 100% customer retention in there. We do have some customers that will drop out there. They tend to be for some very small provider, they actually not able to make enough money through telemedicine yet because the market is still like that. Some of the patient is not as for. So what they do is they say, okay, can we just like not pay for a while until I build up some customer, maybe come back. Yep. But overall, our big customer, they all been, we've been just serving them for a long time. We continue growing them.
And do you have mechanisms, and are you at net negative revenue churn yet? Meaning your expansion revenue is greater than any lost revenue?
Yeah, correct. In there. So overall, the growth stage is really good in there because I think we've been pretty lucky. If you think of the whole telehealth space, right, is most people believe is there's, like the days of before Uber, after Uber, before Airbnb, after Airbnb, like before iPhone in there. Think about like just access to healthcare, right? All the way from how to keep the lower cost of healthcare, all these. So telemedicine become the key instrument just to solve a bunch of the healthcare issues, right? Whether you're an individual, a patient, you want to be able to see this doctor who might be far away to get a second opinion, or your entire healthcare system. How do you lower the cost of, staffing, getting a specialist, all these different things. Yeah. So that's why there's a huge, the market demand just like massive.
Yep, it makes good sense. So you're retaining most of your customers. You have kind of healthy lifetime value. 52 folks out there in California. Milton, what's the plan for the next? I don't know, for the next year? What revenue target, if you hit in 2017, would make you really, really happy?
Yeah, I think for us is in addition to almost like our review list, revenue target secondary to helping getting the adoption in there. So I'll give you one case. For example, the Kaiser Permanente CEO, like at the Salesforce Dreamforce conference, he's probably stated like the 52% of the Kaiser Permanente's visit is now virtual, right? Forbes, everyone rose, the whole news to talk about that. Turn out that it's a little bit not quite true, right? Most people say, do you mean like 52% of Kaiser Permanente visit now done telemedicine? No, what they mean is every time you're going to let's say a web page, a patient portal, request some information, that's considered visit. So today, as an industry, telemedicine actual adoption is very low in there. So we see our job is right, but there are a lot of companies out there from Teladoc to American Well, MD Live, they made boatload of money, like doctor demand, right? They raised like hundreds of millions of dollars. But if you look at a lot of these companies, actual adoption is very low. So we view our job is how do you help the whole industry to increase adoption? Okay, just like, for example, like for you to able to see a doctor remotely in there, just like almost just everyday experience, you don't even think about it. So that one is not there. So we view it as solving adoption, get people to actually use telemedicine in a big way. Then everything else like money, SaaS, everything, we think it will take care of itself.
When was the last round that you closed? What month was that in?
We did that in the 2011.
Okay. So right now you're either raising more capital, that's why you're doing this from a hotel room, you're traveling, talking to VCs, or you're selling to a big company. Which one is it, Milton?
No, unfortunately, we're neither in there. Right now, we're really just about making our customers like happy. In fact, I'm here in the Texas, giving a talk at the panel later on this evening.
Where in Texas? I'm in Austin.
Oh, I'm in Houston.
Okay, Top Tribe, as many of you know, I sold Heyo, and everyone is always asking me what my expenses were when I was building Heyo. Well, a big expense was that I spent over $3,000 per month on financial services to keep me out of trouble in terms of taxes. My mom would always harbor me, Nathan, you gotta keep all your receipts and put them in a freaking box or something to make sure you don't get an audit or things like this. I'm like, Mom, I'm a millennial. You think I'm gonna keep all these receipts? I now use FreshBooks. I use their mobile app to take a picture of receipts, and it makes taxes a cinch. Additionally, I don't have to hire a $3,000 per month person to manage all my finances. It's like saving so much money, and my mom's happy. Additionally, I don't waste a bunch of time creating invoices. I use their templates, and I can avoid using Word templates or Excel files. I just use FreshBooks to quickly send out invoices, and it works like a charm. To get your free first month, go to nathanlatka.com/FreshBooks and enter the top in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Again, go to nathanlatka.com/FreshBooks and enter the top in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Oh, very good. Well, Milton, this is great. You've got amazing energy. You're in an interesting sector with a lot of barriers to entry because of HIPAA and video and everything else. So it's interesting. I want to wrap up here with the famous 5. Are you ready?
Sure.
Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
My favorite is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
I think the CEO something like I'm most excited about is like a Salesforce CEO, Mark Benioff. I think he just like able to create this company, how fast they operate, even at the size they are, just absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Mark, Milton wants you to buy him. That's what he's saying here. Just kidding. I'm messing with you, Milton. Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
I think the favorite online tool was Rapportive, which is the plugins you can like to your Gmail, connect to LinkedIn.
Number 4, Milton, yes or no, do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
No.
And what's your situation?
I do about 4 to 5.
4 to 5. And what's your situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. They're beautiful, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Okay, so you're married, and how old are you?
Sorry, your audio broke up a little bit.
So you're obviously you're married, and how old are you now?
Oh, I mean, let me see. Would it be okay if I prefer not to say?
Yeah, totally. I only asked that question because it follows on to this one. Take us back to your 20-year-old self. What do you wish that he knew?
I think I'm tempted to say it's like my 20-year-old self. I was very naive and clueless in there. And then even today, I would say I'm still pretty naive and clueless in there. In fact, my philosophy of doing startup is like, long as you go in there with a sense of humility, where you're willing to do a lot of rapid experiments, treat everything like a science experiment, from pricing, marketing, cost of customer acquisition. And as long as you do the experiment fast and get the data, able to pivot in there to make the decision, I think that's the path in there. So I would say right now, my probably is probably as naive and clueless as a couple of years ago.
Well, there you guys have it. Milton says he would experiment much, much faster. Again, founder of VSee back in 2008. They've raised capital an unknown amount, now up to 52 people out there in California, trying to make it easier for doctors to connect with their patients via video. They spent 15, 20 grand before per month in paid acquisition. They threw it out the window. It's not working. They're now serving over 1,000 paying customers that average 10 to 20 to 30 seats kind of per customer, paying anywhere between $50 and $500 per seat. Milton, you're on a tear. Thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Nathan, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
If you enjoyed Milton today, go back and listen to Ryan Buckley yesterday of Twofer, which has hit 100 active customers paying $180 per month to get better, more accurate email leads. Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. Okay, Top Tribe, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. And don't forget, before you listen to any other episodes, subscribe on iTunes right now for your chance to win $100 every Monday.